So I'm here with Jessica and Lily Crew from photography, from FD Photography. Nice for you to join us.
Thank you.
So who inspired you for the piece of work that you've done for your end of year?
There was no particular inspiration as such. It was more of like I saw that I wanted to do something called an editorial, which is basically like a theme-inspired photo shoot. So I really like the idea of balloons. So I kind of did this. I interpreted balloons into my fashion editorial, and I called it Helios, which is like, it's where helium comes from. So that was the inspiration behind my shoot. And then the colours of balloons, like the primary colours of balloons, were what inspired the clothing of the shoot and stuff. And Topshop was a massive, like, their handouts and stuff that I based my final product on ones that I had discovered and stuff.
So were the colours in relation to the emotions of them?
Not particularly. It was just like I found the colours of balloons to be quite fun, quite, you know, it was supposed to be a fun photo shoot. So.
And who helped with you with that?
I had the help of Charlie McDonald, makeup artist. She was amazing, like really good to work with, really fun girl. And then I had a model called Coral, and she was quite young, which fitted the requirement for the model of the shoot. So that really helped, and she was really good to work with. So that was my help. But I did everything. I did the photography, the setup, and the organising and everything myself.
So would you say you're a bit of a pro at photography, or do you just do it for the fashion, really?
I wouldn't like to say I'm a pro just yet, but hopefully learning. I would like to do fashion photography. Well, that's my aspiration. So it's fun to be able to do it during this course.
Okay, excellent, Jessica. Thank you for joining us.
No problem.
I'm Natalie Irvin. I'm a BA student at the Manchester College doing the Creative Media and Visual Design course, and I've been working on putting together and creating a children's interactive audio book. Danny and His Dog Chico is the book, and it's where the children can illustrate the pictures to the story themselves, and it has the audio to complement the story and the pictures, and helps get their creative juices flowing and engages them in the story. And yeah, the children really loved it. It went really well. I had actors from the Arden Theatre come in and do the voiceovers for the audio with added sound effects to keep, the juices, the creative juices going. And again, it was just something else to do to take them away from today's world of technology and to actually get them.
Tell us a bit about your course.
Okay, so I do photography, and I chose to do it because I just always had a passion for photography, so it's something I wanted to do. I think it's taught me a lot. We've done like InDesign, which is a lot of graphical typography and things, which broadened my horizons a lot. It's made me interested in a lot of different things. So.
Yeah. So what are the main projects that you've worked on in the last 2 years?
Okay, so the first one that we did was like about Britain. We've done one a lot. I chose to do about depression, which is really interesting. A lot of depth into it. The last one that I've just done, I have been inspired by Pre-Raphaelite and Renaissance, so very artistic feel to it.
All right, so I see a lot of people see photography as just taking some pictures. There's a lot more to it, as you can see, because you've done about depression, you've done different projects. Great, so you talked about your skills that you've gained. Do you know anything? Can you say anything else about the skills that you've gained?
I think a lot of, obviously, we've learned about like Photoshop, InDesign, a lot of things.
Editing suites.
Yeah, so it's going to like benefit me.
Definitely, do you think that this experience will be good for you for your future job?
Definitely. I still don't know what I want to go into. I know it's wanted to be something with like art, fashion, artistic like feel to it, but nothing in particular. No, I don't know what I want to do yet.
No. So how do you feel about the work that you produce? Do you think that you've done a good job overall?
Yeah, I started off, I had a huge mind block of like what I wanted to do. We have 2 units, a Unit 9 and a Unit 10. And in my Unit 10 I was doing an essay about like how women are portrayed, and I'm really interested in, from at A-levels, Pre-Raphaelite and Renaissance, so that's how I kind of got started on it, that's how I was like inspired. So I just like began from my essay really, so it just took one step up to another.
All right, brilliant. Thank you for talking.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
The work that Jack Ware has produced.
I'm Chris Ware.
I'm Glenn.
And together we are the Awesome Deep. Lobos was playing one of his better sets, and it was that was pretty inspirational for me. And the thought about DJing probably dawned on me watching him play at that time, really. Main hindrance really from starting DJing was the layout. At the time I was a student, so it's quite an initially expensive hobby to start, and so I think that's probably one of the reasons I didn't even think about doing it. But yeah, the thought probably dawned. Main hindrance really from starting DJing was the layout. At the time I was a student, so it's quite an initially expensive hobby to start, and so I think that's probably one of the reasons I didn't even think about doing it. But yeah, the thought probably dawned on me then at Warehouse.
4 or 5 vinyls, sort of 50 quid, you know. I managed to get the Technics, the same ones there actually, when I was 15. And that's when I sort of knew the decks, it's our sound system and the speakers and
The vinyl then.
It was the vinyl.
Yeah.
You know, everything you earn, you buy 4 or 5 vinyls, sort of 50 quid, you know. I managed to get the Technics, the same ones there actually, when I was 15. And that's when I sort of knew something I wanted.
So yeah, probably initially a means to an end, but I love production just as much as I do DJing. Yeah, so it's something that I've seen behind you. It's almost a must now, which is a shame because there's a lot of very talented DJs who can't produce, and therefore they'll stay at the same sort of level and not progress beyond that. So yeah, probably initially a means to an end, but I love production just as much as I do DJing. Yeah, so it's something that I've sort of
Help us with friends just to sort of guide us slightly on what to do.
yeah. So
Just been key.
steep in that, yeah, getting around the technical know-how. We just didn't really know what we were quite doing,
Took the long route, really.
but as soon as we sort of latched on to what was the right way of doing things and getting the certain plugins for certain sounds and things like that you need, after that, I mean, we always knew musically what we wanted to try and create. It was just trying to find the right sound and how you manipulate that in your music production. And then as soon as we sort of started to get into that, then yeah.
Hello and welcome back to the Umbrella Show. Now I'm joined with one of the broadcast television students on
Huh?
For you to be here.
Actually, could you just tell me, what does the broadcast television course entail for those people who might want to be doing it in the future?
Okay, so I get asked this quite a lot. I kind of explain it as like similar to what the BBC do. We do basically we film pretty much anything: documentaries, sports, couple of dramas here and there. Live action events, live events as in music, music videos, and so on. Really, everything pretty much.
So, what skills would you say you need to come on this course? Because obviously it's very challenging. Obviously, 'cause it's very hands-on.
At the start, I don't think you can pretty much come here with pretty much nothing. It's one you need. All you need really is passion. You need a passion for camera work or passion to be creative. And if you're really creative, then you're designed for this course.
And what's your passion? Who inspires you?
As inspiration, I'm more of I like Ridley Scott. I like Quentin Tarantino. I'm more bespoke filming. Obviously wanting to be a director as well.
Yeah.
They're the people I look up to.
So, from that point of view, what sort of gear do you need if you're going to start doing this, on your own, yourself, shooting indie films and etc.?
Well, the best thing I've found is that lately, with the 21st century coming in, it's quite a lot of DSLR stuff. So, you buy a cheap Canon 550 and start off with that, and then you build up your body, and obviously you get better over time. Definitely, if you're going to use DSLR, you need some sort of sound device, sound recorder. If you're going to go a bit more expensive, then I think about maybe getting a Panasonic P2 or maybe a Sony V1. They're decent cameras as well.
I'm just going to briefly go over your documentary. What did you base your documentary on this year?
Okay, my documentary was about two individuals who I deem as kind of semi-pro BMXers. One of them has been signed by a clothing company. The other is trying to get out there. And basically, it's a progression of why they get on the bike and why they do what they do, and why, after coming off, hurting themselves, why do they get back on the bike, and just kind of why BMXing? Why not like
football or something?
Football. Yeah. That's about it, really.
Excellent. Ashley Artistall, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Who's on next?
Don't know.
My name's Josh Fagali, I'm from Manchester, and I'm a bike mechanic at Halford. You've got the two lifts, the snatch and the clean and jerk. The snatch is the technically harder lift. It's a wide grip. You start on the ground. The lift isn't officially started until you pass your knees, and then once you've got it past your knees, you got to drive it up in one big motion and get it over your head. You got to stand up straight with it and then wait for the referee to say down, and that's that lift complete. There's only a few things that you can do wrong in the snatch, bent elbows, or just completely missing the lift. There's not much else that you can actually do to fail it, but you need to master the technique, otherwise you won't get anywhere near the sort of weight potential that you're up to. And then you've got the clean and jerk, which is the easier technically, but because of that they expect a higher demand on the weight. So it's a narrow grip, two-part movement: the clean up to your chest and then the jerk over your head. I've represented Great Britain and England as two separate organisations. So I've represented Great Britain at the European Youths, the European Juniors and the European Under-23s, all various countries that I've been to representing, and I've represented them at the World Youths as well, and I've represented England, which is a completely separate organisation because you're lifting against other Youth Britain countries such as Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, and I represented them in India at the Commonwealth Youth Games. Basically, what I've been told is I started off it was a tight shoulder, and because my shoulder was pushed forward and was tight, that was forcing my elbow to becoming, so it's basically be in the wrong position, and because my elbow was in the wrong position, it caused my wrist to be in the wrong position, and that's where all the weight goes onto your wrist. So it was a chain reaction of loads of things, which is, I saw the Great Britain doctor as well, and he first gave me a cortisone injection, which is like a steroid-based injection, which is supposed to numb the pain and allow for it to heal whilst being pain-free. It lasted about a week, and it was killing again. And then that's when I had the MRI scan, and then they did the cortisone again, but I think it was a bit more effective the second time round, and now it's on the mend. My wrist now isn't fully healed, but it is on the mend. Doing all the stretching and flexibility exercises is really helping. You're doing some core exercises, building up the muscles that support the wrist. To represent Great Britain at the Olympics was the highest achievement in weightlifting. It would just be the ultimate goal for any weightlifter. It's the biggest competition in the world.
So tell us a bit about your course.
My course at the minute is basically photography. It's mostly on theory and art, and well, that's how I feel about it anyway. That's what I want to take away from it. And at the minute it's actually set me up for working in the real world, and yeah, it's pretty productive.
Okay, so what are the main projects that you've worked on this year and last year?
Last year they were self-directed. At the end of last year was self-directed.
Yes, what did you do for that?
Sorry, the end of last year was basically documentary and fashion. So basically that set me up to go into fashion, take pictures in studios, system, and then come at the end of this was self-directed. So it was basically taking pictures of my own personal experiences from the past.
Oh, right,
and that's what we see today in my pictures. Here.
Oh, right, brilliant. So what was give us an idea of what you took, for example. What was the style of your pictures?
The style of my pictures, I would say they are self-portraits, and they're dark, so they're looking into my past.
Right.
And trying to basically illustrate how I felt during that time in my past. So I would say they're definitely self-portraits, and I would consider myself a portrait photographer.
Do you feel like the work that you produce is good for the course? Do you feel like, are you happy with the work?
I'm happy. Actually, I would say the tutors now at this course are the strongest it's ever been, simply because we've talked to them, got their guidance on how we think they should take the course,
yeah,
where they think we want the course to go, and it's just, I couldn't ask for better tutors and a better course, yeah.
So have you been on any trips in the last couple of years? Have you been, with the course? Have you been to see anything, experience anything?
We've been to London.
Oh, brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, showed us around exhibitions, and it was great for us, yeah.
Right, brilliant. Anyway, thank you for coming to interview.
Thank you.
When I started, it was the early 80s, before there was house music, soul and funk. Hip-hop hip-hop was there, but it sort of made its bigger mark in the mid-80s. And then I was doing DJ work, club-wise to point, and eventually I ended up on Piccadilly Radio in July of 86. And that was really the time where house music was a new style of music.
Yeah, this is a documentary made called House Revival. It's about the history of house music. There's interviews with house music DJs, Graham Master, Mark XDC, Stu Allen, Dean Savage and Cy Forestier, who are all DJs from the Manchester area. The documentary is about Hacienda's influence on house music, and also it explains the history of house music, where it all began. And it also tells the viewer about why it suddenly made a comeback, and there's lots more nights advertised in the next couple of years, coming up all the time. Yeah, that's it. I've filmed club nights at Venus and Club Walrus, and also backed by Dope Demand, which is a well-known Northwest club night. So yeah, watch the documentary.
Hi again, I'm here with Misha Wood from New Media. Thanks for joining us. So Misha, what exactly did you do for your end of year project this year?
So I studied new media design, which is a cross between media and animation. For my end project, I did a fashion application for my client, which is Very. So I designed a mobile application.
Okay, so I imagine that's quite hands-on and technical. Do you have to be particularly skilled to do that, or?
Yeah, well, I had to learn a new software, which is called Fireworks, very quickly. I had to adapt to that and then design my app and create it.
So what was your app based on?
It was based on a fun way of shopping. So basically, companies now with mobile applications, it's just like an online catalogue.
Yeah.
But I designed an app which is fun. You know, you pick and mix your own outfit. You know, you can test it on a model beforehand before you buy.
So that's breaking down the outfit, like top, shoes, jeggings, that sort of.
Yeah, mix and match, you know, dress towards weather, dress on how wild you want to be, you know, however you're feeling on the day.
And what did your tutors think of that? Because it's quite ambitious, such a big task to put something together like that.
Yeah, my tutors loved it. They think there's a gap in the market for it. So this week I'm going to show it my client and hopefully I'll get somewhere good.
And who's your client, do we know?
Yeah, it's Shop Direct and they've got brands like Very, Little Woods, It's Me, if you've heard of them, so I'm designing for them.
So hopefully you'll get somewhere with that, because it's very, very important.
Yeah.
So does that just work on like Android devices, or is that all?
I've just designed it for an iPad at the minute, but obviously if they want the idea to take it, you know, further,
They can give you funding.
Yeah, they can do it on the mobile, on an iPhone, Android.
So thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. All right.
Tell us a bit about your course.
I'm doing in digital graphic design and advertising.
Yeah.
We learn all sorts of layout, typography. It's really good. Like you get a wide range of skills really. Because we cover literally it.
So what are the main projects would you say that you worked on in the last 2 years?
Typography was a big one because I really like it anyway, so we learned a lot about that. We learned about advertising as well, branding, logo design, so that's quite like a big part of graphic design. And it's all to do with software as well, because you need to have the software skills to be able to be a good graphic designer.
So what would you say that you want to go into for your future career?
Well, at the moment, I've got my NDA show, it's t-shirt. I've done like graphic t-shirt designs.
So that's what you want to do?
I think so. There's a market for graphic designers to do the graphic t-shirts, because normally fashion students want to go into that field, but they only learn about like the garment, the way that whether it's cut rather than the design itself. So there is a really big market for it, and I've done some designs today on the show, and they're really good. So I think that's quite an interesting field to go down.
So what skills would you say that you've gained the most from the course?
Confidence, a big confidence, especially with presenting and talking.
Yeah.
To make sure that you're.
You have to do that within photography, presenting and talking.
You mean graphic design?
Oh yeah, graphic design.
Well, they set you up for your job interviews and stuff like that, so you've always got to be confident with like being outspoken, like if you wanted to do a presentation or stuff like that. But yeah, I won a competition as well, a big one for a logo design, and I won an iPad, and that was like a big confidence booster. So yeah, it's been really good.
Makes you think that the work that you produce is good.
Yeah, that's the thing, because you never know like whether it's good enough or not.
Yeah. So. Do you feel good about the work that you produce?
I think it's gone really well, to be honest. Like at first, I didn't know how my show was going to pan out, but I think it's gone really well. Like I'm really pleased with the way it's turned out. So.
Yeah. And do you feel like the skills that you've gained from everything and the course itself has helped you in your future job? You think that it's...
Yeah, definitely. Like when I first came, I was nervous. I didn't really know what to do on the computers, but now I feel like I'm confident enough to find my way around it, and if I don't know something I can find out, and I've learned to teach myself, so yeah, really good.
Brilliant. So have you done any research or anything into any jobs that are out there for yourself, any companies that you might want to go to?
A little bit. I've looked at more the criteria of like what I need to get in a job to make sure I do get it. So I've been looking, but I've got another year yet. So
thank you very much for coming to interview.
All right.
Hiya, my name's called Andrew Maxwell, and this is my final show work. I've been based the whole work of nature, and the way like the nature has such a big influence on me. Most of my work is from the trees, because they've got the biggest symbolic message to me about nature. I love the way the wood grain looks and the way the shape and the form of the objects. So I've made some models and pictures of all the work that interprets the way I look at, say, like the objects of trees and landscapes and the colours. Most of these patterns and designs have like been influenced from the wood grain, and also little characters which have like jumped out and influenced me throughout the journey. Thank you.
I'm here with Neda Hajipur from Graphic Design. Thank you for joining us, Neda. So graphic design, is it particularly challenging for you? Are you quite a clever person? Are you quite hands-on?
Yeah, I think I love graphic design. I always loved graphic design.
What's the biggest inspiration for your end-of-year project?
For my project, I was doing Persian calligraphy, and I've just applied Persian calligraphy, mixed it with a modern Western form of art, and apply all of them used for interior design. So basically I use Persian calligraphy for the textile design and make curtains and cushions and all this applied for interior design.
So what brands did you look at then for your, for your project? What brands did inspire you?
I was looking for mostly for textile design brands, and most were the one that comes from Western and mixed with the modern countries, and I looked for different basic t-shirt design, and I just wanted to get inspired to apply for my own kind of design.
Okay. So how many designs do you have to do? Just one or multiple?
No, lots. I did lots of them.
And how long does it take to do a design from start to finish, from initial idea to finished product?
I did pattern design for the textile, and Each pattern basically takes lots of time. I normally start with the scratching with the sketchbook and doing with the handwork, and then apply with the computer. And each pattern takes a certain time. Some of them apply quicker, some of them take longer.
So with that being textiles, is that sewn in or is it embroidered into the actual piece itself?
I made the pattern and printed on a fabric.
Oh, okay.
And
Stuck it on.
yeah.
Okay, no problem. Well, thank you very much, Neda, for joining us here this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Alex Dowson. I study creative media and visual communication, and I specialise in radio. The project I've got here is it's called the Confession Booth, which basically I'm trying to get people involved in technology a bit more. As you know, it's the 21st century now. Everybody uses technology these days. I just want people to sort of not be afraid of a microphone and things like that. So what I've created here is a confession booth, a recording booth where you can come in and confess your sins, any secrets you've got or anything like that. It could be silly, it could be serious, it could be heartbreaking or anything like that. So this is my project, and hopefully I'll get a lot of people coming in and recording their own secrets here. I've asked the public before, which I've got.
So what course do you teach?
I teach graphic design and advertising, first years and second years.
So tell us a bit about the course that you teach.
Okay then, well there's three of us who teach on the course, myself, Vanessa, Alex and Paolo also. So the course, I think our main selling points for the course is that we work largely with industry to give the students real life employer engagement opportunities. Another strength I'd say of the course is the group sizes, and that we're always on hand to help. But I think our real strength is working with clients in live environments. So, you know, going out, writing briefs with real people, real clients to give the students lots of opportunities.
Because I have interviewed a few of the students,
Yes.
and they were saying that they're really grateful
Good things,
for the help that, they were saying that they're really helpful for the help that you give them.
Yes.
And they feel more confident, this particular girl felt more confident of what she's going to do for her future career.
That's
so
good.
what main projects have you given to the students in the last couple of years?
Okay, in the last couple of years then, well, we start off by giving them skills. So everyone comes in, because you don't know where everyone's coming in from. So we start with a skills base, so skills in software, skills in critical and creative thinking. And then once we've built that foundation, we throw them straight in there with building a portfolio and working with live clients. So we'll go out there as tutors and seek opportunities to give the students. So they've worked with clients like Mercedes, Purpose, which is an agency in London, Second Shot, which is like a creative company based in a prison, would you believe? So lots of diverse opportunities we go for. And also recently, the Manchester Fashion Network and building work for their brands as well.
Oh, that's really good, yeah.
That's good.
So what skills do you think that your students are going to gain from the course?
Okay, definitely. We're told that there's the dry skills, we call them, but they're going to have time management, they're going to have teamwork, they're going to have all of these transferable skills, and then on top of that they're going to have more course-specific skills like creativity, problem solving, typography, layout, all of those things around graphic design, but really actually being able to take a brief and solve it for a client and come up with a good outcome.
For the actual industry.
For the actual industry, yeah. Definitely.
So have you given the students any trips to go to anything to see within the last 2 years? Have they been anywhere as a part of the experience for graphic design?
Yeah, I mean, in the first year, like I said, because we're building that foundation, we tend to take them off-site, just to different places. So rather than teaching everything inside a classroom environment, we just take them out. So we might go to Chetham's Library, we might go, I don't know, to Liverpool, to one of the galleries, to Manchester Art Gallery. And then that's just to build things up. And then we also try and embed in more of a residential trip. So this year it was London, next year we're going for New York.
Wow, That's
so we'll
gonna
see.
be big.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so
What do
we'll
they do
build that in.
London? What?
Well, rather than just being a fun jolly, we have a design conference that they go to. So they hear from people across the industry, and all of them have found it beneficial.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you for coming to interview.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
I'm here with the life of the party at the Manchester College, Dave G, photography tutor, and quite interestingly enough, we had you last year, Dave, even though you weren't supposed to teach broadcast, but you took on the role anyway.
I was always, I'd been doing a bit of broadcast for a couple of years, but mainly the video editing side.
So never again after you had us, basically. Was that it?
That was a class that killed me.
Yeah, that was it. We were the class that pushed you over the edge.
Yeah, that was it. After that was over.
So, out of all the courses here, who would you say has got the best exhibit so far?
The best what, sorry?
Who's got the best exhibit so far?
I'm pretty surprised actually that it's normally the case that there's one or two things that you see in the different exhibits. I think new media and animation, the 3D visual sculpted piece, I was quite impressed by that. Spoke to him in class a couple of weeks ago, and even downloaded Modulate. I was inspired, so I downloaded Modulate, which I'd used a few years ago, but then realised I didn't have time to play around with it and use it. So I think it's just nice to see a variety of work, different pathways, and I'm always looking for interesting, exciting examples.
I was speaking to some of the FD students before. Jessica was one of them. What do you do different on the BA course of the photography in the third year? What's different about the course?
I think the main difference is the depth. So in the first 2 years of the FD, you have to provide some evidence of contextual understanding, relating what you do to theoretical or a theoretical underpinning. And so on the BA, that gets pushed a lot more. So there's more written work, but at the end of the day, it's looking for ideas in work as well as practical application.
And you've been a photography teacher, of course. What's your biggest subject? What's the subject you most like using?
I think the important thing is being engaged about your subject.
Yeah.
So I would say that I'm probably obsessed with photography. So I did an MA last year in documentary photography. So I'm always trying to do things, keep ahead of what's happening within the industry, but always carrying a camera. And practically I'll do things, but I'm always thinking about why I'm doing it and so on.
But is that important though? Is that important for you, any photography student anywhere in the country, to always be carrying a camera, because it can just be just that moment of inspiration when you least expect it?
I think the important thing is, it doesn't matter what camera you carry. Exactly. I mean, Adam has some quote, isn't there, that the best camera is the camera that's in your pocket at the time. But there are so many people, I suppose, taking videos, taking pictures,
you've got to do a lot to stand out. And that's the key, I think, is developing your own style and maybe taking a step back, thinking about it, and then producing the work.
And do you have a pet peeve about people's work? Do you hate when they use auto or presets and stuff? Do you like them to be all technical and know what they're doing?
No, not really. I mean, I was a little bit bothered about technical things in the past. But there's so, it's like I say, there's so many amateur photographers that operate as good as, if not better than professional photographers.
Yeah.
That, the camera technically isn't important. It's what you see. It's the idea that you have, and that's the thing that's should be the most valuable.
And what, bringing us onto cameras, what camera are you using this evening to take your photos?
This evening, I did have. Well, I've still got SLRs.
Yeah.
But they're just too big and intrusive.
Yeah.
So I like the anonymity. I like to be able to walk around the streets, carry a camera. So I'm using a Fuji X1 Pro,
which is a micro four thirds.
It is, but I get geeky now, aren't I? When I compare it to my D3, which is full frame, I can get similar results.
And that's a Nikon for those at home who don't know what we're talking about.
How is that? I shoot on Nikon, but I'm moving to Fuji.
Oh, he's traded the good old Nikon brand. Well, Dave, thank you for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your wine.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers.